1, 2, is this on?
Not all wrestling promos are created equal, and some have had us cringing all the way through.
The Suffer and Succotash, I don't even remember, I just remember it was Suffer and Succotash, and it was like literally 8 years ago, and it will still be brought. I mean, I delivered some really good work over the past few years, and they'll still be like, Suffer and Succotash.
You are a sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffering succotash, son!
From poorly scripted dialogue,
I go to Gorilla, the writer who wrote the segment is standing next to me, and Vince is just tearing me apart for how cheesy and bad this thing was.
to nervous wrestlers stumbling over their words,
And starting this moment from now, from this moment on, this will be the moment. Starting now.
NXT in my era was a disaster. Like, they would do crap to us and make us look like crap.
to downright botches.
You think you can beat the British Bulldog? It's wrong. If you want a chance of me, come on and take a piece of me.
Today we highlight 10 cringy wrestling promos.
I tried so much stuff that didn't work, but I just knew, like, okay, I've tried it 10 times, I'm 0 for 10, punt. It doesn't work
It's
in
not
the
working.
Northeast, it doesn't work in the South, it doesn't work on the West Coast, it doesn't work in Europe, punt.
We all know how important charisma is in wrestling, but not every talent can be blessed with such a skill. Jack Swagger was a prime example. He was not known for his promos, but for whatever reason, WWE decided to put a mic in his hand on the September 13, 2016 SmackDown. This was meant to be the start of a career resurgence after 2 years of being lost in the shuffle, but it may as well have been a final nail in Swagger's WWE career. Nothing went right during this, right from the bizarre opening line.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Rolling Stones!
Yes, this was a badly written promo, but the awkward delivery made it absolutely comical.
Call me Jumpin' Jack Flash. I'm a Division I All-American, a former heavyweight champion, and I have one Stone Cold Fox of a wife. Whoa!
I was in there cheesing real big like I do, like trying to get people to like me.
The indifferent crowd remained completely silent all throughout.
You may think you know my abilities in this ring. You don't know Jack. I'm gonna be a big problem.
Swagger remained with WWE for 6 months after this, but the company knew not to let him speak in front of the people again. This next promo had no people in attendance for it, but it was similarly brutal. It went down during Shane McMahon's program with Braun Strowman in 2021. Going into WrestleMania 37, first let's look at how odd the build-up was, as Shane constantly ragged on Strowman for being intellectually challenged. This to some horrific segments on Raw.
You fell down out of the stupid tree, hit every branch on the way down. A stupid is, a stupid does, Braun. Braun is so stupid.
I'm not just gonna whoop your ass for me. I'm gonna whoop it for every person on this planet that has ever been called stupid.
Perhaps the worst of these promos occurred on the March 8, 2021 Raw. With Strowman looking on, McMahon purposely stalled and took multiple long pauses.
I don't know if I can talk to you about this.
Why are we even out here?
This was meant to be a way of mocking Braun for being stupid, but the entire thing fell flat on its face. It was a type of segment they'd never be able to do with actual people in attendance, but the lack of crowd only made things worse. It was truly channel-changing television. Roman Reigns benefited the most on the mic during the era with no fans, but his first babyface run featured numerous cringe-worthy promos where he was often given silly scripted verbiage to recite.
Vince is like, you're saying this and it's highlighted, then you're gonna say it. And I said some crazy stuff.
Little old Roman, he climbed that beanstalk. And dude, would you like to know what he found? You are a sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffering succotash, son!
When we were working together, I would like try to give you cheap lines, you know, like easy, you know, go stay in the kitchen or, you know, stereotypical type stuff. And you never wanted to do it. It was never comfortable for you to do that.
Those were weird performance waters to navigate. Like, everybody looks at that time and they'll be like, a failed babyface. I don't like low-hanging fruit. From a promo standpoint, a lot of those cheaper digs, I feel a little more sophisticated than that.
One such example took place on the December 7th Raw from 2015. Ahead of a TLC match with Sheamus at the Tables, Ladders and Chairs event, Roman reflected on his career so far while laying out his plans for the upcoming pay-per-view bout.
As I got a little bit higher, I could see the promised land. I'm not leaving this ring until Sheamus comes out here and we destroy this arena and I beat him down with every single toy that you see in front of me.
You can just tell these are not Reigns' words, as he struggles to make them sound convincing. His body language is off, making it obvious he's not really feeling any of the material.
I thought the Irish liked to fight. I guess I was mistaken.
The worst of these lines came at the end when Roman called out Sheamus' private parts, due to the Celtic Warrior not wanting to fight Reigns.
You're just sitting there yapping, yap, yap, yap. I thought Irishmen had potatoes. It looks like you're just smuggling some tater tots. How's that, tater tot?
Some fans might not know that Roman's cousin Rikishi had a brief stint in TNA in the fall of 2007. At this point, Rikishi was still too overweight for WWE to rehire him, so TNA was his only opportunity to get back on TV. Now going by Junior Fatu, this run wasn't much to write home about, hence why it only lasted a month. Rikishi's short time with the promotion is perhaps best remembered for his promo on the October 25th, 2007 episode of Impact. Here he completely buries upcoming opponent Bobby Roode, as well as the Fight for the Right tournament. Keep in mind Fatu is meant to be a face, but comes across like a heel phoning it in.
When it comes time, I think I made the fight for your right. What's that jabroni's name?
Fight for the right. You are facing Robert Roode.
When Junior Fatu faces Rick Rude or Robert Roode or whatever that jabroni's name is.
Fatu then tries copying The Rock by performing a smelling motion. Rikishi attempts to relate this to his patented stink face maneuver. We can see what he was going for here, but it just didn't work.
Somebody's getting the fresh air. Stinky.
Fatu came off as unprofessional in this dismissive promo, as he legitimately gets two names wrong. His matches around this time were good, but it said the Samoan had a bad attitude backstage. Then once he asked for more money than he was offered, TNA chose not to sign him.
They didn't come out with the numbers that I wanted, and I wasn't going to do what they wanted. It wasn't heat because I left during the tournament deal. They knew, they don't now, that I'm not the one to play with, you know what I mean?
Our next example features someone from another famous wrestling family, as we look at Mr. Perfect's son, Joe Hennig. But first, let's set the scene. The original game show version of NXT often placed the up-and-coming wrestlers in scenarios where they would have had to improv on the spot. They were sometimes asked to cut promos based on a specific topic. This naturally resulted in some ridiculous moments.
The fact is, Skip Sheffield doesn't chew bubblegum, because I don't eat bubblegum, and that's all I got to say about that.
What is a mustache? I don't have one. Of all these people here, I have the best mustache of them all.
Your topic is toupee.
I can't think of anything to say. Aren't we here to wrestle?
Dude, NXT in my era was a disaster. Like, they would do crap to us that make us look like crap. It was a shame.
Probably the most infamous segment on the old NXT came on the August 31st, 2010 episode. Michael McGillicuddy had to do a promo immediately after being confirmed as the losing finalist for the season.
You are going to go to a pay-per-view and have a title shot? That's going to suck, I'll tell you that much.
What followed was pure and utter second-hand embarrassment felt by anyone watching poor McGillicuddy.
And starting this moment from now, from this moment on, this will be the moment, starting now, of the genesis of McGillicuddy.
It took 3 years for his career to recover from this debacle.
I don't know, it just stuck for a while, but I took 2 years to get rid of it, and I don't want to think about it right now.
We're sticking with a moment from the PG era, which was a time in which John Cena was known to get quite cringy.
Baloney, fudge, and mustard! My life is being ruined by the internet!
I wasn't afraid of looking silly, and I wasn't afraid of not being funny, and I wasn't afraid of failing, because I was failing all the time anyway.
It makes me want to dance!
It makes me want to puke.
You would make your faces.
Among Cena's most baffling cringe promos was when he addressed the crowd on the Go Home Raw before the 2013 Royal Rumble. John was the odds-on favourite for the Rumble match, so his big sell for the show centered around the fact that it took place on a Sunday. He spoke directly to a young fan in the crowd and speculated how they might spend their Sunday playing video games.
You're the 10th level prestige that's keeping me at noob status on Black Ops 2, aren't you? My username is Skidmarks187. Oh.
Cena then spoke to a guy about what he does on Sundays as things are even stranger.
Wake up around 1:30 or 2 p.m. surrounded by bodily fluids. There's a receipt in your back pocket for 168 Jaeger bombs and 2 blow-up dolls. And you can only find 1 blow-up doll.
John said all this to bring it back around to this upcoming Sunday, and how he was going to win the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon was reportedly livid backstage due to CENA going off on his Sunday tangent. The promo didn't do much to build the Rumble, but it did remind everyone what day it was on.
If you deliver the same product every night, it becomes stale. You know, it's just my feeble attempts to try to show versatility. and once again, it goes back to I'm not afraid to take a chance. I'm not afraid to put JBL as poopy on the side of a limo, or go out there and try to do some sophomore humor. Just to try.
Vince also hated this next promo, which was actually about him, though it was cut by Colin Delaney of all people. It happened on the May 27, 2008 edition of ECW, where the brand's crash test dummy jobber, Colin, was asked what he thought of McMahon announcing a weekly $1 million giveaway on Raw.
One thing I really love about working for the WWE is how they're always giving back to the fans. I mean, they're giving me a chance to live out my dream, but imagine the dreams that are going to come true for the people who win these millions.
Mr. McMahon has also told us that the 2008 WWE draft is coming soon. Any thoughts on that?
Whole new set of opponents? That would be great.
Delaney had a hard time making the script sound natural, which he revealed during an interview with Wrestling Then and Now.
What they would tell you every time was, just put it in your own voice. Just put it in your own voice. You know, you don't have to read it verbatim, but put it in your own voice. And I said, guys, I don't know how to put this in my own voice. It's like overly cheesy. And they were like, okay, just read it as is. So I read it as is.
After a few takes pre-taping the promo earlier in the day, both Bruce Pritchard and Stephanie McMahon concluded it was awful.
They're like, we're probably just going to cut it. I said, okay, that's fine. Then they come back over to me and say, hey, we actually need that segment. We're just going to run it live.
Immediately after delivering the promo live, Colin was summoned to Vince, who chewed him out for the subpar segment.
And I go to Gorilla, and the writer who wrote the segment is standing next to me. And Vince is just tearing me apart for how cheesy and bad this thing was. And all I can do is say, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. I'll do better next time, sir. And go about, and while this writer is arms crossed, nodding his head like, yeah, you should have done better. Like, God.
We'll now look at a wrestler who appeared to be reading from the script verbatim while cutting a promo. We're referring to AALIYAH's segment on the SmackDown post-show following the November 12, 2021 episode. There didn't seem to be any script or paper visible where she was looking, but what is clear is that AALIYAH wasn't confident and had no passion behind her words.
Anyone that wants to doubt what I can do, well, you haven't seen anything yet. And Miss Sonya Deville, you want to kick me off the team? Well, you've got another thing coming to you, because what I'm about to show everyone in the WWE universe is going to be incredible.
This threw her off and resulted in such robotic delivery and awkward body language. Next up, we have another case where the wrestlers suffered because of poorly scripted dialogue. It happened on the pilot episode of SmackDown on April 29, 1999. The Brood were going to speak for the first time together as a unit, but were told what they had to say ahead of time. The group's leader, Gangrel, nervously flustered his way through the promo. These clearly weren't his words, but the writers were persistent.
Where in the darkness, we seek a much different light. We live our collective lifestyles for who we are and what we believe in. In this search of the mystery of life and the hereafter, and the power is what we seek, and it's within all of us, and we just have to unleash it.
I love Gangrel, I love Dave, but I knew that he couldn't be the mouthpiece.
Edge spoke last, and while his lines were also cringy, he said them with more conviction and personality, to the point where following this segment, Gangrel's stock fell in the company, while Edge's continued to rise.
We are who we are, the unholy trio, and we will become what we will become. Doc, I suggest that you beware. Take care, because the freaks come out at night.
Especially since he got an audible female pop after taking the mic.
They will understand.
And the girls screamed. I don't know. He said, I went, yeah, he's going to get there.
It was just that moment where everybody in the back looked at each other and was like, this guy is money.
Edge cleverly reimagined this promo during his rivalry with Seth Rollins in 2021. It was an excellent callback as the Rated R superstar returned to his original Brood persona for this feud.
Beware. Take care. Because the freaks come out at night.
Edge felt rejuvenated late in his career, but the same can't be said for the British Bulldog, who struggled with substances, especially towards the end, including during his run with WCW. The Bulldog was often heavily medicated to deal with pain. This was evident during a DirecTV exclusive Backstage Blast interview on the October 5th, 98 Nitro.
British Bulldog has been in wrestling for 20 years, since I was 15 years old.
It's not known for sure if Bulldog was meant to wrestle on this night, but he was certainly in no condition to perform based on his behavior in this interview.
You think you can beat the British Bulldog? You're wrong. If you want a chance of me, come on and take a piece of me.
You would seem to have a power advantage.
Oh, greatly power advantage. I'm going to snap him in half.
The Bulldog's back got destroyed a few weeks prior after landing on part of the ring which had a trapdoor underneath.
I hit my back. I was like, oh my God, I felt my life go out of me.
This meant he was hooked on pain meds. The back injury ultimately led to his release from WCW a short time later, since he was unable to wrestle. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out a similar video on 10 WWE wrestlers who ruined their bodies wrestling too long. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.